This time it's our 2008 tour of India. And before we start, don't forget to like and subscribe. This was Blazing Trail's Goa trip, though it actually travels through a number of states. I think it's bumpy. This is a great British piece of understatement. We actually got pummeled. The roads are very changeable in India. Sometimes they're smooth and tarmacked, before suddenly turning into gravel dirt trails. Yep, it's probably the only place in the world where you ride off-road, whilst you're actually still on-road. This means that those regular stops for chai are very welcome. After leaving the tiny state of Goa, we headed into the Western Ghat Mountains, and even did a bit of whitewater rafting on the Kali River, before we arrived at our next destination, the ancient town of Hampi. To get to Hampi, we had to traverse the vast expanses of the Deccan Plateau. This was miles of perfectly flat, open ground, until Hampi had appeared in the distance. To access the ancient ruins, we took a boat trip and then climbed a number of steps that took us into the old city. Typically the first thing you encounter is a group of holy men fleecing tourists, before you walk barefoot into the Hindu temple, where we had our first encounter with an Indian elephant. Then it's into the temple itself to receive a small blessing for good luck on our journey. A small fee, obviously, and just enough time for Deb to find a gift shop. The ruins themselves are on a vast scale. The city was assembled using teams of elephants to drag rocks into position. Unfortunately, the city was destroyed around 500 years ago by the invading Mughal Empire. But today, the ruins are regarded as a World Heritage Site. So vast is the site that you need to use a tuk-tuk to get around. Or at least, it was a really good excuse to use a tuk-tuk. In the evening, we ascended 500 steps on a mountainside to a temple which is said to be the birthplace of Hanuman, the monkey god. For this reason, the site is populated by huge numbers of monkeys who seem to do whatever they please. The site afforded spectacular views, and I'm not what you call a spiritual sort of person. This does have to be one of the most tranquil spots on the planet. And here we watched the sun go down, and Deb took a really great picture. My video didn't come out quite as well as the dogs kept walking in the way and ruining the shot. But the following day, it was back on the road, and we overnighted at the small town of Chikmagala.
What?
And we arrived here a day before a truly bizarre Hindu festival. Apparently the young men push a massive wooden cart around the town that's been decorated with flowers. When it's been decorated, there are a lot of festivities, and a good time appears to be had by all.
It's beautiful now, isn't it?
Really see it. Must have been up all night doing that.
Yeah, I think they will. How much does that cost us? So 1,000 rupees.
1,000 rupees, about 12 quid, did you say?
Yeah, 2 tankfuls, isn't it? Yeah.
While we're buying this fuel, we happened upon what can only describe as the worst toilet I've ever seen in my entire life. Truly, it was really disgusting. Only beaten by one that I came across in France a couple of years later. Honestly, I'm not kidding. But that, as they say, is another story. Our next destination was the city of Mysore. This was the largest settlement we actually stopped in during the trip. That was the first time we had to ride through heavy Indian traffic. This was, of course, pretty damn exciting, as you might imagine. But soon enough we were back in the countryside and speeding towards our next destination. This was the Moody Marley Nature Reserve.
You're gonna get swamped.
It had signs everywhere that said don't feed the monkeys, but there were vendors selling monkey food. And why not? The locals made a living, and the monkeys didn't seem to mind at all. Nice and comfy?
Lovely.
Bit of luxury.
Luxury, look at the view.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't mind going for a walk around the perimeter later. But not too far like the told us.
Whilst here, a small group of us did a nature walk where we encountered a bear. I have to say they scared the hell out of us. We also went for a jeep safari at night. I wasn't so sure about this. It did help to support the nature reserve, and it was interesting. But I was now concerned that we were encroaching on the privacy of the animals.
Kerala.
We skirted the top of Kerala a couple of days after leaving the nature reserve. From now on we would be heading back towards the coast and the higher temperatures, and then we would be turning north and would be thinking more and more about home. Heading west we encountered our first rainstorm, and we rather stupidly put our waterproofs on, because in a matter of minutes the rain stopped and we baked like a Sunday joint in tinfoil. After a long day's riding, we reached Turtle Bay, in southern Goa. David wanted to go for a swim, which he soon changed to mind.
So Dad, have you written in there why we didn't go for a swim in this water today?
I think I had to leave that out to the diary.
Yeah. Why didn't we go for a swim in the water today?
Because the locals have a poo on the beach before they actually go out fishing.
With our trip nearing the end, we rode to the ancient Hindu site of Gokarna, where we caught boats to Paradise Beach. Here we relaxed with a few drinks before heading back to Goa and ultimately home, of course.